Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all continuing to keep safe and well. Here in England, the lockdown measures are about to be eased further from July the 4th, so more places will be opening up and you'll be able to meet more people, that kind of thing, all with the usual safety measures in place, of course, like distancing and hygiene measures, things like that. So hopefully people will be careful. I know we've had crowds of people on beaches and having street parties and things, so we just have to hope they won't cause a big spike in cases. But even if we do get local surges, which is inevitable, hopefully they'll be able to do targeted local lockdowns of certain towns and cities rather than the entire country this time. That's the hope, but we'll see how it goes. And I hope things are going well in whatever country or town or city you're residing in as well. I know it's very different wherever you are all over the world and everything's still a bit uncertain. There's still a lot of risk out there at the moment. So yeah, I hope everything continues to go well for you wherever you are. Here where I am, I haven't been out for about 7 weeks now, apart from the last time I went to the shops. But by the time you watch this video, I'll have been to my uncle's funeral with my mum. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know in my next post how that all panned out. And I'm also feeling like I'm ready to go out for walks again now, just in the local area. You know, I'm not going to be using public transport yet. That still doesn't feel safe, even with the whole face coverings requirement and everything. But to go for some walks around my local area, I think should be all right, because the risk of catching something when you're outdoors and not in close proximity to other people should be okay. It should be minimal. So we'll see how that goes anyway. I'll probably pop out and see how many people are around at different times, things like that. But it would be good to get a bit of exercise. I do need it. And I also need to get a haircut as well. So it'd be nice when the salons and that open soon. So I can hopefully book an appointment and get that done at some point. So that's where I am at the moment. That's how things stand. But let's have a look back now at the past couple of weeks as usual to see what's been keeping me occupied and entertained. As usual, none of this is sponsored or gifted, and there is a big blog post going into much more detail as well. Plus there are links in the description below to everything as always. And there's plenty to cover, from disability to theatre and museums to TV stuff to music, all that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's crack straight on with it. So starting off with disability topics, and the 21st of June was Aniridia Day. And Aniridia, for those who don't know, is the eye condition where I don't have an iris in my eye, the coloured circle around the pupil. So my eyes don't adjust to changes in light. I'm very sensitive to glare and bright light and find it hard to see in the dark. But Aniridia Day is the day where we raise awareness of it, and on that day, we decided to hold the Aniridia Network Conference for members in the UK and Ireland, and anyone else around the world who wanted to attend as well. We were going to hold the European Aniridia Conference at the end of August, where everyone could gather together in person, but obviously that's not possible, so this virtual conference was the substitute. And it worked very, very well. You know, it was the first time we'd held a conference over Zoom, but it was very successful. We had great speakers, and there was great discussion amongst the various attendees as well, and there was very good feedback on it too, so I'm very pleased that worked out so well. I wasn't really paying full attention to all the speakers because I was busy working on the Aniridia Network's social media, promoting the conference, and Aniridia Day as well on the Aniridia Day social media channel. So I wasn't really able to pay full attention, but what I did hear was very good, and I do now have a recording of the entire session, so I can now edit down the videos to post them on the Aniridia Network's YouTube channel. So as I watch through them, I'll be able to see them in much more detail and appreciate exactly what was being talked about more. So go over to the Aniridia Network's YouTube channel and subscribe to that if you want to see the videos as they gradually come out over the next few weeks or so. And I can also recommend a video by a lady called Angela, who runs a YouTube channel called Visually Impaired Designer. She posted a video to mark the day about her Aniridia and the aids that she uses as well to help her out. So go and check that out as well. That'll give you another insight into the condition, so to speak. And there was also a lovely video of people from all over the world, children and adults, speaking in a variety of languages, basically celebrating Aniridia Day and passing on their special messages to everyone. So go and check that out. There is an English subtitle track for that as well. And if you want to translate it into other languages, then please do. That would be appreciated. And then the day before that, the 20th of June, was Nystagmus Awareness Day. Nystagmus is a side effect of Aniridia for me. It's also part and parcel with other conditions a lot of the time, and it can also occur on its own. So it's relatively common, really. It basically means you have involuntary movements of the eyes, so it's harder to focus on things. Many people with nystagmus find it hard to read things. Many people with nystagmus can't drive, all this kind of thing. So it does affect quite a lot of people. And yeah, the Nystagmus Network celebrate their Awareness Day every year now in June. It used to be later in the year, but it now happily coincides with Aniridia Day by pure coincidence. So go and check out their website as well, because they've had some articles on there about nystagmus in lockdown and homeschooling with nystagmus and things like that. But the big news lately is that they've made it onto the BBC Radio 4 Appeal programme, which is a big deal because this is a show that broadcasts to a national audience to promote different charities and the work that they do and the people they look after, things like that, in the hope that they can and help to raise money and raise awareness as well. So it's a big deal that they've got into this programme, especially as it's going to be Richard Osman presenting it as well, because he has Nystagmus himself and he's obviously very famous from Pointless and House of Games and lots of other things. So it's great that they're getting such big exposure on a national radio station like that, and I hope it translates into lots more awareness and hopefully lots more fundraising for them in particular. So congratulations to the Nystagmus Network for that. And if you want to find out more about how those conditions affect me, Aniridia and Nystagmus, then you can check out the videos I made in the very early days of my channel, Living with Aniridia and Living with Nystagmus. And there's also the What is Normal student documentary I took part in as well, which summarises them very briefly too, and various other videos and posts that I've made, of course. So if you want to find out more about the condition, then there's plenty about that on my channel. And then on top of all that, I've been engaging with Scope's big hack project about their study into the accessibility of online video streaming services, because some are very much more accessible than others in various ways, depending on things like the accessibility of the website, how easy it is to navigate, whether there's provision for captions and audio description, that kind of thing. So it's quite interesting research. It's not very surprising either, because I already knew that some of them weren't terribly accessible, but it's good that it's got out there and they've been able to kind of rank the different services. So do check out the pages on their website about all of this. There's the league table where they've put together some analysis of the different results as they've gone through the different services, and there's also a big survey they've done of various disabled people where they've talked about the effects of inaccessibility when you're trying to access things online that you want to watch. And I was one of the people that they spoke to that they included in their press release as well, just highlighting the issues that I face. Like, for instance, for me, I highlighted Game of Thrones. I really want to watch that, but having seen the first season, having borrowed it off a friend, I know it's a very complicated and busy show and it's hard to follow without audio description. It had AD on the TV on a channel that I can't get, but the AD is not included on Now TV's platform. They don't have AD for any of their shows, which is very disappointing, really, considering that places like Netflix have it for all their original titles, Amazon have it for some things, Disney Plus have it for a lot of their content, I believe, all this kind of thing. So it's very disappointing that Now TV, who are owned by Sky, are kind of very behind the curve on this. But yeah, that just highlights the kind of thing that people face. It is very frustrating, not being able to watch the same things that everybody else can. And that's the kind of thing that this campaign is aiming to raise awareness of. However, I have been enjoying some audio description recently thanks to theatres. So the National Theatre have been posting various shows in recent weeks, a few of which have been audio described, as was the most recent one, Small Island, and that was described by Ros Chalmers, who I know from various other shows I've been to. She's always fantastic and was again here. And the play itself was great too. I'd never seen Small Island before, I've never read the novel, I'd never seen the TV adaptation, so I didn't know what I was getting into, but it had good comments and good reviews, and my friend Claire highly recommended it to me, so I decided to give it a go, and I really enjoyed it. It's basically about some Jamaicans who moved to England and the impact it has on their lives and on the lives of the English people they come into contact with. The first half of the play is set during the Second World War, when people from Jamaica came over to us to fight for our country and everything. And then the second half of the play is about those same people moving over here permanently to come and live here because they'd seen the place, they know what it's like here. So they thought they could live, a good life here. And obviously they didn't perhaps bargain on the racism they would encounter and things like that. And it's about their efforts to try and settle in, basically. It's really interesting and really engaging and everything. It's not a dark play by any means. There are dark moments in it, but there is a lot of humour in there as well, actually, more than I expected, really. So it is really kind of good fun, that play. There's a lovely music score to it as well. They make really good use of the video projections on the back wall and everything, and there's very creative use of props to indicate different scenes and rooms and things like that, and the revolving stage is used to good effect, and all the acting is fantastic as well. So all the elements came together really well, and even though the play is like nearly 3 hours long, it doesn't feel like that because there's so much going on. You do get very absorbed in it. It's very, very good. And then the other show I saw was Reasons to be Cheerful by Grey Eye Theatre, and that's a group of disabled performers, and they're very, very good. The play is about this group of friends who want to go and see Ian Dury in concert, and they also play music themselves, so they're playing a lot of his songs throughout the show, and there's a new song in there as well, or it was new at the time of the show anyway. And yeah, it's just kind of very lively, very good fun and everything. When I went to see it a few years ago, it did have audio description as well, delivered by a character kind of via a phone, as if he's talking to a friend of his who couldn't be there. So it's kind of integrated with the play very nicely. There are captions on the back screen as well for people who can't hear very well, and it works really well that way. Online, they included captions on the screen, which is fantastic for people who are hard of hearing. The audio description was provided as a separate audio version altogether, which was a little bit kind of disappointing in as much as I like to have AD with the visuals so I can marry the two together. You know, when they mention certain things in the description, I can then focus on it on the screen, whereas I wouldn't have noticed it or, understood the detail of it before without the description. So it was a bit odd having a separate audio version, so I didn't bother with it in the end. I just watched the YouTube video instead. And I was still able to follow it well enough. I'd already seen the show once before, as I say, and there wasn't anything really major that I missed. So I was able to follow the story and enjoy the music and everything. It just seemed an unusual way to do the audio description that I've never kind of seen anyone else do before. But it's great that they're making an effort to be accessible, so you can't knock them for that. So yeah, do go and check out my review from 2017. I'll link to it in the description below, of course. You can find out what I thought about it in detail back then. And you can watch it online until the 3rd of August. They've kept it on YouTube for 2 months, which is very, very generous of them. So do go and check that out if you like a bit of lively music and a bit of humour, that kind of thing. It's a really nice kind of upbeat play. It's very, very good. And then again, talking about audio description, I also enjoyed an audio described exhibition tour online for the first time. I've done them in person loads of times, but this is the first time I've had a gallery tour online. This was led and described by Caroline Dawson, who again I've met before at audio described events. She's very, very good. And this exhibition was by Jan Svoboda from the Photographers Gallery. And we basically got to hear descriptions of 4 of the artist's photos in great detail, and we looked at them on the screen at the same time. And it was really interesting. We had people from the museum there as well giving contextual background in addition to Caroline's descriptions of the different images. So it really helped to give a nice rounded picture of the photographer's work. Because when you first look at the photos kind of in isolation with no context at all, they can look just like a plain picture of a table or a stick against a wall or something. But when you come to understand kind of the artist and their methods, and you look more closely at kind of the wear and tear they've included in their photos and stuff they've written on the back and the thought that's gone into each image, you do kind of appreciate what they're doing more. So I really enjoyed that, and I know the Photographers Gallery are doing another audio described tour as well in early July. So I'll link to that in the description below if you want to go and check that out. And then in terms of TV and radio, there isn't really much in the way of new stuff to mention at the moment because it's summertime when things are generally quiet anyway. Plus they haven't been able to make much new stuff recently for obvious reasons. So I've been able to focus more on my Blu-ray box set of The X-Files that I kind of had to put on hold for a little bit, but I've been able to binge watch that more again. So I'm now happily into season 7 there now, so I'm making very good progress there. But on the TV, I'm still enjoying Comedians Home Alone as well, the sketch show on BBC Two. That's very funny, and that'll end in a few weeks' time. And on the radio, I'm glad that The Unbelievable Truth is back with David Mitchell. That's the game show where different comedians read out basically a whole set of lies on a particular subject, but hide actual truths in there as well, often very strange truths that you have to try and dig out and recognise. So that's a fun show. There's always lots of fun things to learn and lots of good humour in there. So that is basically it for new stuff that's caught my attention, but it's been great to see Doctor Who getting some love in America as well, because they're now showing on HBO Max and they've been promoting that very heavily as a result, which is fantastic because it means we've got to have some reunions of doctors getting together for interviews. So Jodie Whittaker, Matt Smith and David Tennant all got together for a HBO Max interview, during which we found out the name of the Christmas special that's coming out this year, because thankfully they filmed that before lockdown came in. And also Jodie and David got together for an interview on the Late Late Show as well with James Corden, and also helped to judge a cosplay contest there. So it's been great to see the doctors reminiscing about the show again and promoting it in America to the people who want to watch it there, which is great. And it's also been announced that Series 6 is going to be re-released as a Blu-ray Steelbook set like they've been doing for previous series already. So that's great. I'm going to add that to my collection because the artwork looks really good on those and they look really nice on the shelf altogether. So I'll be getting that when it comes out in August. It'll be a little early birthday present for me. And then finally, on the subject of sci-fi, Red Dwarf have confirmed that their brand new documentary, The First 3 Million Years, will be broadcast on Dave in August. This is a brand new retrospective documentary looking back at the entire history of the show with the co-creator Doug Naylor, all the main members of the cast and various members of the crew and celebrity fans and things like that. I don't know how much we'll learn that's new from it. I mean, they are going to be showing unbroadcast scenes and smeg-ups and things like that. A lot of that will already have been on the DVDs, but the interviews are brand new, so we're bound to learn some new little tidbits from that, and there may be some new bits of footage as well. So it'll be interesting to see them. It's always good to see a celebration of Red Dwarf, so I'll tune into that and see what they have to show us. So then finally moving on to music, as is traditional for these posts, and there are various bits and pieces to mention as usual. So starting off with some parodies and covers, things like that. There's a lovely channel called Hildegard von Blingen, and this person has posted medieval style covers of various songs like What Is Love and Creep by Radiohead and Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. And they're all wonderful covers. The lyrics have been changed to a medieval style, as has the musical arrangement, of course. They're really, really fun. So keep an eye on their channel for the various different songs that they're doing. I've also found a couple of parodies of Phantom of the Opera to do with lockdown by The Opera Guy and Hand In It Productions, the latter being a group of puppets. They're both quite good fun. And then the always interesting Tom Scott, who does loads of great informational videos on his channel. He's done a survey into Jingle Bells Batman Smells and the many other variations of that carol that kids have come up with over the years in different countries all over the world. So it's quite interesting to see the many different iterations that have come up in different countries that I'd never heard of before, and where they might have spread from. Did The Simpsons have an influence, for instance, because they had a version of it in their show? So it's actually quite an interesting video, as well as being fun. And yes, it is summer, not Christmas, but let's face it, time is an illusion at the moment, so we can talk about whatever we want at any time of the year now. If you want something a bit more relaxing and classical, then I can recommend the video Alone Together by Hauser, which is filmed in front of a gorgeous waterfall and is a nice little medley of songs. But if you want something a bit more upbeat and a bit more lively, then the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain have done it yet again with another interesting cover, this time of the Love Cats, which is a classic song, and their cover is actually very good. So check that out if you like that song. And then moving on to mainstream artists now, and following on from my review of the Def Leppard London to Vegas box set, which you can still check out if you haven't seen it yet, I also downloaded their Early Years box set that also came out earlier this year. There is also a physical box set available, but as the entire thing can be downloaded as well, I thought I was happy enough to do that. And it basically consists of their first two albums remastered and a disc of B-sides and rarities. All of that has basically been available already on their CD Collection Volume 1 set that I've previously bought. But there are also a couple of other interesting discs in there, which is a live show from Oxford and a CD of BBC sessions. So they're very good to have. They're very interesting, all great performances. And then moving on to Bonnie Tyler and Lorraine Crosby, and they've released a single called Through Thick and Thin, I'll Stand By You in aid of the Teenage Cancer Trust, who would have been celebrating their 20th anniversary with some special concerts this year. But as they can't, they've released this special charity single instead, and it's a lovely little song. And talking of charity songs, Matt Lucas is still going with his song Thank You Baked Potato, which, if you'll remember, was raising money for Feed NHS to supply food to health service workers in the UK, which is a very worthy cause, of course. He's been recording various covers with different artists on his channel over recent weeks and months, but this time he's kind of topped it all by doing a version with stars from pretty much every West End musical show in London. It's huge. There are so many singers in there, including a few famous names and a huge orchestra as well. Every single person recording from their own home, of course, and it's all come together really, really nicely. It's a really epic number. There's a brand new verse in there as well, so you've got new lyrics to enjoy, and it just feels like the biggest kind of definitive version that there is so far. It's amazing. And then the Muppets have also made an appearance recently as well, and who doesn't love the Muppets? They've performed a lovely version of With a Little Help from My Friends as part of their appearance on the Late Late Show with James Corden. There's no comedy or silliness involved. It's a genuine performance of the song, and it's a really feel-good, upbeat song. It's one that you can sing along with and feel good about. So it's a great gesture that they did that. It worked really well. There is also a comedy skit as well with James Corden being heckled by Statler and Waldorf as well, so that's good fun to watch. And then last but by no means least, we come to my favourite band, Queen. There have been various bits and pieces about them over the past couple of weeks. In particular, there's been a big focus on Queen with Adam Lambert, because he's been doing many successful tours with them now over quite a few years. And when Adam first joined the band, I wasn't very sure about him. I wasn't really into him that much. I think there was the stigma about him being on American Idol, because I wasn't into those kind of talent shows like, X Factor and Pop Idol, Pop Stars and American Idol, that kind of thing. I never really liked the people who were on those things. And when I first heard him performing with Queen, I didn't really like the sound of him. It was just too different. It was just too much of a shock, I think. I just kind of stepped away and thought, okay, if other people enjoy him, that's great. He's just not for me. But he's kind of grown on me a bit, over the last few years. He's still no Freddie by any means, but then he's not trying to be. That's the important thing. And that's what I've really come to appreciate, I think. He's put his own style on it, and he's really settled into it, I think, as well. And there's a great chemistry between him and Brian May and Roger Taylor, and it does actually work quite well. So this modern iteration of Queen, while never as good as the original, is still, pretty decent. So there's recently been a documentary on Netflix, which is why I'm bringing this up, called The Show Must Go On, about how Adam got involved with Queen. And it has a lot of information about his background as well, how he got into music and things like that. And it kind of filled in a lot of gaps for me, really. It made me understand Adam a lot better. It's great to see the interviews with him and learn about his background and things like that. So I have a greater appreciation for him now. I really understand why he kind of fits into the whole Queen narrative so well now. There's great interviews with him and Roger and Brian as well, and also lots of footage of Freddie performing and interviews as well, so he was not forgotten about by any means. And the Paul Rodgers iteration of the band also got a little mention as well, which was good because I did enjoy that from the outset because I was already a kind of Free and Bad Company fan, so he was easier to get used to. So yeah, I really enjoyed that documentary. I thought it was really engaging and interesting and fun because they had clips of their performances in there as well. And then we got to see a nice selection of performances thanks to a special tour watch party that Queen posted on their YouTube channel just for 24 hours on the date that, you know, they would have finished their tour if they'd been allowed to finish it. And it basically had footage of lots of songs performed from different concerts in different venues over recent years. And there was some interesting stuff in there. It had them performing Love Kills and I Was Born to Love You, both songs which Queen never performed live under their original lineups. That was fascinating to see those. There was Love of My Life performed by Brian May with the audience in the O2, and Freddie made an appearance at the end. Adam performed a stunning version of Who Wants to Live Forever in tribute to people who had been killed in Orlando, and there was a great version of Fat Bottom Girls with Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So there were all these different things all coming together very nicely. It was a very entertaining hour or so of different hits. And then on top of all that, there's now been a little video series launched on Queen's YouTube channel called Roadies in Lockdown, where they talk to the crew who work on the Queen and Adam Lambert tours about how they put the shows together and everything. And you get to see footage of sound checks when Queen are getting ready to perform on stage with Adam, things like that. So that looks set to be an interesting little series of episodes. And then moving on from Adam Lambert, there are a couple of other bits and pieces to mention as well for Queen. The first of which is the fact that they've had a Royal Mail stamp collection issued for them, which is a huge honour, as you can imagine. It's approaching Queen's 50th anniversary, so it makes sense that it comes out around now. It's not something I'll personally be buying because it'll be too small for me to appreciate the artwork really, and it'll end up in a box where I don't look at it for years. But for collectors of Queen merchandise and stamps, it does look amazing, and I reckon it'll be very popular. And then finally, Roger Taylor surprised us all with a new single called Isolation, which, as the name suggests, is all about lockdown and the feelings that we can all relate to in one form or another. And that's a lovely little song, so I encourage you to check that out. And that's it. That's all I have to mention for the past couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed that and found things that are of interest to you. By the time you see this video, I'll have attended my uncle's funeral and have been part of the CXCon accessibility event that I've mentioned in the past. So I'll let you know how they both went in my next post. Other than that, July is looking very quiet, so I'll be able to get on with various bits and pieces as I please. As I said earlier, I've got the Anna Regia Network videos to edit and post about the conference. There are also a couple of series that I'm working on for my blog that I want to start posting there in July. That will keep me going over the summer very easily. I won't spoil what they are yet, but hopefully you'll find them interesting. And I'll keep doing these favourites videos, of course. So I've got plenty to keep me occupied, and hopefully I'll get out and about for a few little walks as well if I can as well to get a bit of exercise. But until next time, I hope you continue to keep safe and well. And obviously, even though lockdowns have been eased quite substantially, there is still the risk there. So please continue to be careful, and I hope you continue to get any support you need as well. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel as well as per usual, and I will see you for another video very soon. Bye.